Hello, welcome to today's collective general reading. As always, use your own discernment, join with intention, and allow the messages to be received with an open heart. It has been a few days. And there's been a number of things that have come through on different days, and I have some written down. I don't know if they all want to come out in one message or if this will be staggered. The first thing that I had written down is handy dandy notebook. Repeats of 3 transitioning into 4. So this incense I have lit twice and it has gone out prematurely both times. And so I am now lighting this a 3rd time, and we will see if this is any different or if it's the same response. It was interesting to see the flickers kind of like fireworks. So wondering if maybe the message is to be conserving more of our energy as opposed to trying to spark, you know? So like when you have 2 rocks and you're trying to make fire, and so you're rubbing together, maybe the tools that you have, the rocks that are at your disposal, aren't for fire. So maybe there's something that you're bringing in through fire that is asking to be planted in soil. There was, what was that? The fine line between love and rage. So what polarities exist at different somatic checkpoints for you? And somatic checkpoints, you could also say chakras. You could say like sensing areas, like sensitivities in your body. We're all using different words to talk about the same things, essentially, is my belief. And something about, so the example of love and rage, both can exist in your heart chakra, right? And so last week I was talking about pink and how everyone is talking about pink, and I was like, I guess I've never seen that color, because the more you describe it, the more I see pink everywhere as a metaphor for spirit, spirituality, psychic sensing, you could say. And so to carry over that message, we in the world are often talking, now I'll see if I can bring this into frame. So we are mindful of our fire energy, because it seems like it's gone out again. So I wonder that repeats of 3 transitioning into 4. I wonder if I will have to light this twice as 4s. But see all the sparks coming off? I don't normally see incense spark up like that. It would be more, it's falling down. Okay, yeah, there's actually a few things that are crossing over into one another. And so that means I also want to talk about this. Yes. So love and rage can both sit within your heart. And so like the story of pink, perhaps your whole life you hear people talking about, I just feel this love in my heart and I feel this passion in my heart. And you hear people talking about heart, but what is actually sitting inside you is rage. And I'm gonna use the term alchemizing. I may not be using this as like esoteric alchemizing. You can also think of it as like transforming, transmorphing, transitioning, right? So there's this feeling inside your chest, in your heart space, that is actually rage. But you live in a society where everyone is telling you that you need to be channeling love through your heart. And so you say, fine, I'll grab this again. You'll say, fine, I guess I just need to somehow turn this coal into diamond. I need to take all of this energy, rage, that is inside of my chest, and if I just focus this and channel it in through manifesting into something, whether it's a belief, it's a creation, it's how you approach your relationships, it's how you view yourself when you look in the mirror, it's your self-love, it's your views and values and ethical, moral compass towards our society. Whatever it may be, there's something in you that you're like, I'm gonna channel all that love, but it's not actually love, it's rage. And so if you look up the vibration of feelings and emotions, again, not my expertise, but looking at how the lower vibrations would be rage, hatred, jealousy, and then you move up, it's more like acceptance and like maybe disappointment, contentment, and you're going into love and bliss and enlightenment. Long story short of it. So you think you're at a certain level up here working with love, but you're actually working with rage. And rage is awesome. It is full of awe. It is a beautiful emotion. Every emotion is beautiful and magical in its own sense, right? But the message that's coming through is learn how to tune in with your body, this somatic checkpoint, somatic sensing. Learn how to tune into that and recognize whether what it is that you're feeling in different areas of your body is of a lower or a higher vibration, is how I'll phrase it. Now, so I also wrote following sleights of intuition, which bring us to concrete paths under open skies. And so yesterday, I was walking around and I knew I wanted to find the ocean shore. And I'm in an urban area. And I used to live here. I'm very familiar with the area. And so I was like, I wonder which side street I'm going to take. And then my human brain, as the incense is flowing very freely and I'm like getting it in my throat and I'm like tasting it and seeing these spirals, how small they are. But once I point attention to them, once I observe them, they are interrupted. Is that even on camera? We'll see. And so I went to go down where I would normally go for convenience. And then there was just a quick, if I wasn't thinking to watch for or to feel for my intuitive sensing, I would have just waved it away. Like how many times we wave away messages that we are telling ourselves from deeper places, right? And so something in me was like, no, don't go here. And I said, okay. And so I kept going and I passed this kind of like a path in between buildings. And it was concrete. And I'd never gone that route, I don't think. I never had a reason to go between those two buildings. And as I went to pass it, there was something in me that was like, stop, go back. So I said, okay. And then I went back and then I walked down that route. I had a conversation with somebody the day before. And a message that came through was from Father Sky, specifically with Eagle. And then I walk through this concrete and I come to, I'll reorient us now. I'm walking through this concrete and then I come to ocean and there's a boat called Eagle. And I thought, oh, and then I look up and it's full beautiful ocean sky. And as I continue following this path, so I can immediately access ocean, which is not available right in front of me, because what you want is not always what's going to be easy. It can come to you easily, but that doesn't mean that manifesting it into the 3D is child's play. Although it can be expressed and created through playing as child, I'll say, but I digress. And so I was going to find a place where I could meet the ocean. And as I did, this is a bit of like a sidestep, I was taking photos for me, capture the memory of what I'm doing and this and that. And I see signs, places, and so I take that. And my camera kept glitching. And I was like, fuck, it kept turning off the music I was listening to. So I was like, fine, and then I'll just do camera. And then my camera's not loading. And then suddenly it's only seeing white. Everything is white. And it was doing that for like over a minute. And I'm like trying to tap the screen to change the brightness of it, because like it's a nice day outside, but it's a foggy ocean city, right? And as I'm feeling like immersed with this incense. And I was like turning my screen on and off again, and it kept coming back bright white, bright white, bright white. And this has happened my whole life with just glitches with technology when I'm around. That's just a thing that I'm used to now. But normally when something is like budding, energy is being pushed, pulled, channeled, flowing movement through, images will deteriorate, expand, morph, transmorph in some way. And then I'm like, well, I'm trying to get this picture through a gate of where there is land here, there is land here. But if I get it from the right angle, I will see the passage to ocean, and then it is the entire Atlantic Ocean. And I can see that it's right there, but I'm trying to capture it, you could say. And then I finally, not give up, but I'm just like, okay, I think I'm gonna need to walk a little further to get to where I want to go. And so I decide to put my phone down, and then I see another boat, but it's between bars, so I can't see the name of it unless I'm moving my vantage point, moving my placement of vision, right? The boat was named Crowley. And I thought it was very interesting that this boat was this bright red presence in front of me. As I'm seeing this bright red presence in front of me, you can't really see it as bright red, but it is. And it's this, and I'm not someone who knows a lot about Crowley, but I know there's stuff there, right? I've read the abstract of his existence, essentially, but I haven't really committed to reading the full article. So yeah, that was interesting. And then when I continued going to try and find access to ocean, I was like, my God, this is way longer than I remember it being when I was a teenager, but I will keep going. I will keep persisting because I know why I'm here. I have my thing that I want to do, that I told myself I'm going to do, and so I'm going to accomplish that. And then when I finally get to a place where there's now hope for being able to access ocean immediately, I was in between these two places. I was in between my favorite place in the entire world when I was a teenager, which is, it's just like okay, this is gonna come in. It's a war monument. And I'm not someone that's, big savvy on war, but it has these slope concretes beneath statues. And when I was in high school and I had a free period, I would go downtown and I would sit on these slopes and I would nap. I don't recommend napping in public as a youth, but that's what I did, and I loved it. And I just have a really beautiful, peaceful connection with that area of the city. And I come to this place, and this war memorial is on my left, and on my right is a place that I know you can get to because I have memories of a member of my family having been there. And I said, okay, through my own experiences and my relations, I have not just hope, I have a knowing, I have a strengthened knowledge that this direction is actually a direction I can thrive in. I can go here. This is open for me. So now going on to this. I bought this ring a couple years ago, and I was wearing it every day, was obsessed with it. I loved it so much, and then it was just gone. It was it was missing, and it was missing for, I would say, probably a year, maybe more, If you're watching this channel, you know that I've recently moved. And so, it's kind of like packing up everything sentimental in a few suitcases and hightailing it thousands of kilometers away. And I was going through what it was that I had packed, and I find this tiny little, I think it might be like rabbit fur, but some tiny little satchel I had from when I was a kid. And I look inside of it and I find this ring. And I'm like, it's interesting how I didn't know what I'd had until I decided to trust and go with and commit with knowing what it is that I have, and that is enough. And I am gifted with the sentiment I had been searching for over a year. Now this ring is mammoth tusk. It's over 14,000 years old. And I know that you can't lift it yourself, but it's heavy. It's a thick band, yes, but like the tusk, well, it's freaking mammoth, right? It's very heavy and it's only a tiny piece. And when I was at, before that, when I bought this ring from the seller, he does a lot of work with animal bone and antler and really, really beautiful, like ethically harvested gifts from nature. And when I bought this from him, he said, it's interesting. Mammoth is the only animal that you don't need to go through like an ethics process to use their pieces of their body for art because they're extinct. Something about that was very intriguing to me. And on many layers of it, which I won't go all into this video, but specifically about, well, now that that is finally over, now that that has passed, it no longer matters. When really you could consider, well, if they're extinct, that means that there is a limitation of that in existence. So why is it ethically sound? Again, sound has been coming through. Why is it ethically sound to pursue intentional engagement with what has been destroyed? As I say destroyed, that's with an asterisk, because wondering about does destruction only occur through intention? And I don't know the history of mammoths going extinct. I don't know what the relation was. I don't think humans were around, but also I'm not sure. But something about the intentional destruction of, and through this, I'm thinking about esoteric knowledge. Once something has been fully destroyed, then it's free game. But what about, how do I, not gaining access, accessing access, I don't know what the words are, finding accessible points to, as my finger was going under, it wasn't meeting, it was going under. There's another way, right? Something about the limitations on esoteric knowledge. And this is something that I am fairly new with, like the systems of esotericism, so I'm not someone to quote on these things. And I know that not everything is to be fair game all the time. There's things like mystery schools and gaining knowledge through experience. That happens for a reason, and I totally understand and respect that. But I'm thinking about, now I'm going kind of political with language, and I'm hearing that it's not for me to be going into politics on this channel. Okay. So the last thing with this mammoth is I'd had it when I was going to the ocean, and at one point I had snow in my hands. And this is a very thick piece of metal. And so when I put it back on, part of the inside of it, I had these like, not frostbite, but like cuts from cold. You know what I mean? Cold metal on skin with the teeniest bit of a sharp corner. Yeah, it's gonna cut. And it cut, there's this slice on my skin that I have that's like, you know, open and healed, not a big deal. But there's also, I don't know if you can see, but there's a line going down the middle. And on my finger here, I have a very faded tattoo of an apple. And so there's something about splitting that core knowledge down the middle and getting to dissect and investigate, I'll say, both sides of a knowing experience. There's a lot of ways to take that, so you can take that how you want to take that. Okay. There's a few others here, but I don't feel that they're tying in with this message. And so let's do some cards. Anybody else? Potentially. Oh, you're bent. I didn't know you were bent. The Singer of Connection. What is even in there that can bend you? A doily. Well. Well, hello, Singer of Connection. I will now always know when I'm being connected. I do think it's interesting how some cards get, don't even want to say damaged, but they get impressioned. Kind of like when you had a deck of Uno growing up and then you bent one of the pick up 4 cards, so you always knew where it was in the deck. There's something about making notes for yourself, notches in the real world, something that you put there for intention, that you know why it's there, and it's not for you to necessarily be explaining to other people or letting them in on that knowledge, but you know why. And I don't know why this is just coming through, but I have this kunzite here. And I was pouring it out from this little bottle. And as I was pouring, not all of it came out. There are still, I think that's 2 pieces left in it. And when I was pouring it, it was just, no, that's enough. That's enough to be out. It's fine to have more aside. So perhaps that's a message of self-care, but I'm hearing self-sovereignty. Like, you expressing yourself in the world is not equatable with you explaining yourself to the world. We have the Rar. And I'm still learning this deck and what the meanings are. 52 being 7, being blue. I'm seeing this light here. Honestly, what I'm seeing is I have this obsidian. I forget which kind, but it's a circle. And earlier I had it balanced. This is, how do you say it? Lepiosodolite, something like that. And I had these 2 stacked on top of another crystal that's square. And it was the thing of, it shouldn't balance. There's a challenge. There's a challenge to the conceptual ability for this to have stability. But this is referencing back with this repetition of 3s that transform into 4s. Something to do with circles to 4s. Who's this? Sylvanius, 34. That's actually interesting. 3 to 4. So I'm seeing, and is that nudity? No. Hello, Soul Shrinker. So I'm seeing this light here and this here. This here to me is being, like to the right of this light in the middle. But it's something about you having cast, having manifested, having grown and nurtured something that you're putting into the world and that is starting to come to light. And now there's something about whether it's creatures from parallel spiritual realms, as I'm getting an odd glare from this flame in my glasses that I've never really had before. And now there's like a fire dot following me around the room. a little bit. And I know it's a glare reflection issue, but the timing of that felt important. Also things like orbs. I'm not someone that's like totally well versed in all the explicit blah blah blahs of the paranormal. My whole life had experiences with there being more and would look into these all the time, but I'm not someone who would actively go out and practice these things. But the idea of there being glimmers of the words you could use, right? Spirit, consciousness, presence, entity, energetic manifestation, creation, sentient being, anything that you want to use and more, right? As this is standing out to me, this long, skinny piece of kunzite. So there honestly might be an entity that is kind of soul shrinker vibe, but I'm thinking of something that is lanky and a bit decrepit, maybe something that's ancient is coming to mind, and my human's like, the ancient, but ancienter than ancient is what I'm hearing. Also, these both being 7. So I'm hearing that into 2 4s. It's about this mirror image. Oh, okay, yes, I'll share that. I've been having symbols coming through for like the last few months, especially. And this has been coming through. I know what that now means for me. I know the intent I've put behind it. But I don't know of this symbol in other places or the meaning to it. Oh yeah, and then I think I'll wrap this up and then do an actual reading, because I'm realizing I'm near half an hour. There was this, yes, because Lilith has joined in for this. This was a symbol that came from Lilith a while ago. And I was talking about it in, where did I do that? Here. And 423 had come out. And then I was thinking about it after, and I'm like, oh my God, you can see 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, it's only 2 strokes, 2 lines to create it. 3, there are 3 pockets. And this again came after a reading for reflected darkness. So I'm seeing this as your 2 4s. And this, for me, not bad. I'll do that. Okay. So, I will say on the 4th try, the incense is burning, and I think that's fantastic. If any of this was of interest to you, something resonated, sparked a connection in some kind of way, I encourage you to like this video. You can comment down below, say hello, subscribe for future videos. There's also the link to the 444 Collective, which is my Substack, in the description below if you want to go a little deeper. And there are some messages that are only for the 444 Collective, and those are private through there. What I also want to say is that I'm a stranger on the internet. And so everything that I'm speaking with is, I'm a person with a birthday that pays taxes and has to wake up and brush my teeth like everybody else. So I think it's important that we keep that remembrance of we're all humans navigating and engaging and expressing through intuitive calls. It doesn't mean that these are instructions. Okay, goodbye.